Good morning and welcome back to the One Celtic Fans View this morning. Something a bit close. Good morning. Yes, hope it finds you well today. It's Thursday. Can we start talking about football again? Like I said yesterday, I think if that club had put as much effort into 2012 as what they've put into a missed penalty opportunity this week, they maybe not been in the position that they're in just now. They maybe have went on to fight another day like Celtic, but they decided not to pay the tax man and sell the club to Craig White for £1 and things like that. But anyway, it is what it is. Let's get back to Celtic transfer news. There's a couple of bits of transfer information kicking about already. Yesterday we spoke about the players that were going to leave the club and the opportunity of a player returning to Celtic. Well, the dynamics of that have changed dramatically. But first of all, let's talk about one player that is gaining some interest from English League 1 and League 2 clubs in January. Celtic defender Dane Murray. Yes, remember him? The youngster that was on tour with the club in America. The youngster is likely to be recalled from his loan at Queen's Park as there is attention for him from elsewhere. The 21-year-old who spent his entire career at Celtic. He came through the academy ranks. I think he's one player that if Celtic have any ambitions on trying to keep players, especially with the growing concerns that Stephen Welsh wants away from the club, if you want players to come through the ranks and go out and have their football education as Brendan Rodgers does, I think it's imperative that we keep the likes of Dane Murray on the books. And if he goes out on loan, so be it. He is out on loan just now, but if he goes out to a higher level club, it can only be good for the player. And he did quite well when he was in America. I thought the youngster played twice for the first team under Brendan Rodgers so far, and he was sent out the door on a temporary basis to get him game time. And that football education that Brendan loves to talk about. He is a Scottish youth international and he's played 15 matches this season. But he's now poised for a change, this article says. And there's a few articles talking about it. Celtic do play this weekend. Make sure you join us on the live tonight. Yes, Celtic sitting proud at the top of the table with 43 points. We seem to be forgotten about that, haven't we? It's all been the meltdown of the League Cup victory. And I urge you to go on your laptop this morning and go into Google Chrome and type in Celtic FC, and you'll love it when it comes up, because it's still coming up with the League Cup victory. It all sparkles on the screen from Google. So fair play to Google for still doing that. Celtic are sitting on 43 points. Our closest rivals, Aberdeen, who, you've got to say, Aberdeen, the last 5 games have just fell away, haven't they? They've not managed a win in the last 5 games, which has allowed the Sevconians in third place, the Rangers, to close the gap on them, which I'm actually disappointed with, because it's a bit of a fight for that second place now. The third place team have a game in hand also, and they're only 2 points behind Aberdeen. But anyway, who cares about them? Because Celtic go to Dundee United this weekend. Yes, Celtic travel up to Dundee United for an away day game. It's an early kick-off on Sunday morning. It's a 12 o'clock kick-off on Sunday, so I'm sure we'll all be excited for that. And those terrible, terrible toilets at the away end at Dundee United. Yes. Tell me if they're any better all these years later. They're not. I know they're not. They're absolutely terrible. Anyway, let's get on to some news about Alistair Johnston before we get on to, yes, the big story that is hit the Daily Mail and the Telegraph this morning, coming out of London. I did say that there was noises coming out of London yesterday, but nobody believed me. They said that was a website that put that out. It's not real web. It's not a real headline. But anyway, they're coming out with the real headlines today. Alistair Johnston set the doctor on a non-negotiable for the Rangers battle. He makes a confession over the Hampden podium, is this headline. The defender didn't train before the derby due to his injury against Zagreb, and it was thought that he would be missing for the game. Brendan Rodgers, if you remember, came out and said, look, he just needed a little bit of extra time off. That's why he didn't train. Brendan Rodgers has been rather coy over the matter, wasn't he? And that's what I love about Brendan Rodgers. He could have come out and said, look, he's carrying a bit of a knock. We don't know if he'll make it. But he didn't. He just said, he's all right. He needs a little bit extra time off. He's Ali. He'll be fine. And that's what's great about Brendan Rodgers. Alistair Johnston insists there was no way he was missing out on the prospect of the Hampden party, even if he didn't have to, even if he had to celebrate with one leg. The Celtic defender picked up that injury against Dynamo Zagreb just days before the Premier Sports Cup final that Celtic went on to win. And on penalties, as dramatic as it was, Johnston didn't train before the showdown, but the Canadian ace was adamant with the doctor he wasn't going to miss out. Yeah, he's had the week off and he's had some time to go to the darts and put up hashtag 119 and leave little notes on your dinner, away for your on the table, away for your dinner, hashtag 119. The fullback has gained hero status, it says, with the Celtic. He has, hasn't he? I mean, there's only one Ali Johnston. If we could get another player like Ali Johnston on the left-hand side of the pitch, what a formidable, absolutely formidable defence and attacking fullbacks that we would have at Celtic. It would be absolutely brilliant. Anyway, he was in the thick of it on Sunday with the epic showdown. This goes on to say. It says, even though he scored, he couldn't get up on the podium. Some things are worth it. He says, there was never a chance I was allowing injury to hold me back, and there's no chance I'm going to add to this medal haul, he says. He's going to add to this medal haul. He is a player that absolutely loves playing for us. He absolutely loves that. I mean, he gets us. Ali Johnston really gets us, and he's fantastic. And Johnson says, I don't think I made it over to the proper celebrations. It was a crazy match. I knew it was going to be a bit hectic, but these kind of games shave years off your life. I'm just glad we got out with the result and the trophy. And the meltdown that's happened in Scottish media since then has been absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. But I do say, and I mean this, if they put this much effort, everyone in the media, and then Chris Boyd and that, and if they put this much effort into 2012, and the weeks leading up to that, it would never have happened. And surely they could have raised money to stop it, but it is what it is, isn't it? They died and they returned as zombies. It was one of the reasons Ali Johnston says that he signed for Celtic, to play in cup finals. It's always fun when it's a 50-50 split like that with both sets of supporters. It helped generate an atmosphere and made it pretty special to play in. Even though I was injured, I wanted to fight more. I just wanted to fight and be part of the game. It's always special playing at Hampden, and it's always special lifting the trophy in front of our very own fans at that special end. Johnson might have to follow the doctor's orders this week with Dundee United. It means that Tony Ralston will come into the team. We will talk about that tonight. We'll talk about it tonight, but I mean, there's nothing that we can confirm or anything until Brendan Rodgers speaks to the media tomorrow. And it'll be only once Brendan Rodgers does speak to the media that we'll know whether or not Ali Johnston is going to be fit for the game, or if he's going to be rested this weekend. There's no Champions League games between now and the end of the year, thankfully, but there are some pretty hectic schedule, as they say. There's some pretty good games coming up, and then we do have a matter of returning to Ibrox with more than 750 fans, let it be said. Yes, there won't be the small amount of fans. Our voices will be heard at Hampden, and I'm sure that we'll be able to shut them up just a little bit, because we are the champions. Ole, ole. Anyway, let's get back to the Celtic headlines. We'll go to the one, first of all, that grabbed my attention. And this was in the Telegraph. Celtic ready to battle Premier League clubs for Kieran Tierney. Tierney is set to leave Arsenal in 2025 or at the end of the season when his contract with the North Londoners expires. I didn't know it was this summer it expires. I thought it had another year. Now that even adds more fuel to the fire, because Celtic are expected to push to sign Kieran Tierney from Arsenal, and the article goes on to say, but they're ready to battle Premier League clubs for the left-back signature. Tierney is due to leave Arsenal in 2025, either in January or more likely the end of the season, when his contract in North London expires. Arsenal had an option to extend the deal by a further 12 months, but have chosen not to do so, and he's fell out of Mikel Arteta's plans. The Telegraph Sport understands that Celtic are keen to bring Tierney back home to his boyhood club, where he progressed through the ranks and went on to make 170 appearances before joining Arsenal in 2019. His high wages at Arsenal could make a January switch difficult for Celtic, with a move in the summer regarded by sources more likely outcome at this stage. Tierney, who spent last season on loan at Real Sociedad and made the first team appearance last night, as he went on to impress in Arsenal's exciting League Cup victory. He did come off with some cramp after 69 minutes. When you've been out all season in your first game back, Brendan Rodgers has done it. You pull people off, you only give them 60 minutes. It's all about managing the game time, isn't it? This goes on to say the Scotland international has been unavailable much of this campaign due to a serious hamstring injury suffered while playing for Scotland at the Euro Championships. He was substituted yesterday, we've done that, but the 27-year-old has fallen down the pecking order at Arsenal, it goes on to say, and that was in the Telegraph this morning. The next one is the Mail Online, and this is the guy yesterday who spoke about quite a few Celtic players were going to be leaving. Celtic keen on Tierney reunion after injury hit Scotland fullback is told his Arsenal contract will not be extended. So it wasn't fully... Yeah, his contract's up this summer. They had the option of a further year, but they're not implementing that. So it is what it is. Brendan Rodgers wants to secure a stunning return to Celtic for Kieran Tierney, goes on to say. Arsenal have informed the Scotland international that they don't intend to exercise the option of another year on his contract when his deal expires in June. The Gunners were obliged to take up the option by a certain date, which is now past. Interesting. So it was good that his agent put that in, and obviously they haven't done it. The 27-year-old is free to speak to other clubs in January and is open to the idea of a substantial pay cut to return to his boyhood heroes. So it's been confirmed by Stephen McGowan, the man that tends to be in the know when it comes to Celtic ins and outs. He always breaks the news first. Kieran Tierney, he has said, is willing. He's open to the idea to take a substantial pay cut to return home. Effectively a free agent, Tierney currently earns in excess of 120,000. And let's face it, when you've made 120 grand a week, that's phenomenal, isn't it? That's a phenomenon. I mean, that's $500,000 a month. Of course, he's going to come back to Celtic. He's made his money. Do you know what I mean? He's done the big bit. He's made his cash. And some people will say, and somebody said yesterday that Kieran Tierney was a rat for leaving Celtic. And my response was, have you never left a job to go and get a better paid job? Do you know what I mean? Some football fans are it's funny. I've not read, and by the way, I apologise for not responding to comments yesterday. There was over 250 comments on the channel. I've not got enough time to go through that. Jesus. Anyway, I'm more chancing of getting a reply to a comment on a live. So make sure you join the live, 8 p.m. Celtic Park time. Anyway, Kieran Tierney will attract interest from the UK and overseas, the Mail goes on to say. It says, with no sign of a breakthrough in Greg Taylor's contract impasse and Alex Bailly on a one-year deal, Rodgers will see the appeal and an emotional return for fans' favourite, it says, with a significant experience of the English Premier League, La Liga and Real Sociedad in the Champions League. He also played in the Champions League for Celtic. Sold to Arsenal for $25 million in 2019. Kieran Tierney made the 125th appearance in his injury-hit spell with a 3-2 win over Crystal Palace in the Carabao Cup. He was substituted after 69 minutes with his head in his hands after suffering cramp. So anyway, that's the big headlines. It kind of split the fans, and it keeps on splitting the fans, this one. And people were saying I was getting a bit too excited about Kieran Tierney coming back. You've got to start thinking not through your own eyes. You've got to start thinking about the way that Brendan Rodgers, and listen to the way that Brendan Rodgers talks during interviews, because it lets you into the mindset of how he thinks. And once you start analysing that, you'll be able to understand why he would like Kieran Tierney back. And it's like I said yesterday, look, you just have to look at the conversation that they had at the Celtic Foundation charity dinner. That's when the deal was done, if you ask me. That's when the deal was done. The papers, everyone can speculate all they want. That conversation that they had, and Brendan would come straight out and ask him, said, look, are you prepared to come down to 40 grand, 35 grand a week? And that's as simple as it was. It would be a simple question like that. And after knowing what he's on at Arsenal, and Kieran's probably sitting there going, it's time to smoke a cigar time and come up the road and belt Rangers again, and then go on. And Kieran Tierney, and put it this way, right? If Kieran Tierney does come back to Celtic, right, and we go on a run to another 9 in a row, right, and Kieran Tierney's there. I mean, but he's got enough legs left on him. He's 27. He's got 5 years left on him easily. And I think that's one of the burning ambitions that Kieran Tierney would want to do also. And could you imagine the meltdown in Scottish football? I mean, if we keep up this dominant run and head for another 9 in a row, I think that there's people in Scotland, you'll need to, the social services will need to up their game when it comes to mental instability and people look for mental care, because the other side of Glasgow complete meltdown. Anyway, I've not got time to look at any meltdown stuff today and see how they're reacting to the fact that the SFA have come out and said, yeah, there was a mistake. I've got time to look at their shit today. I don't, honestly, I've got too much on today. I've got some work I need to get done, so I can't even look at any of that. And we need to stop. It's Thursday, and they're still going on about it. Oh man. Anyway, I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day today. And why is that red? That should be green. Jesus, damn chair. Anyway, I hope you have a fantastic day today wherever you are, Celtic fans all around the world. Make sure that you do join us tonight. Oh, I forgot to put the Just Giving thing up. But the Just Giving page is sitting at 62%. Oh, remember, we are doing a Boxing Day live. I'll just quickly jump on to the Just Giving page to see. Yep, it's still sitting at 1,246, which I'm fine with. Honestly, it's absolutely fine. It's a fantastic amount of money. But when we do the live on Boxing Day, and I might change the format of the live, I may be bringing some other people on. So yes, I think the live may look like a lot of the other Celtic podcasts out there, just for that day and that day only, as we're trying to bring other people in. Because if it's going to go on for hours, I would try and get other people onto the live. I won't have thought about it, because it could go on all day. And trying to do that yourself all day is just a little bit of a push. It would be epic. Don't get me wrong, it would be epic, but I have to be realistic about it, and I think it would make for a bit more special if we can get some more people on the day. Anyway, that's enough for this morning. I hope you enjoyed the Celtic news. I hope you have subscribed to the channel. Just do it. It's completely free. Just do it. It's free. And we are sitting on 20,288 subscribers, and we're going for 55. See down there, we're going for 55. Oh, and look there. Hashtag 119, and that's 22. So that's a good enough reason itself just to subscribe. It's completely free. And let's just make this a fantastic community that it is. Anyway, have a fantastic day to every single Celtic fan and anyone else watching at this stage all around the world.